And good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Dutch Mentor. This is once again our Monday morning chat about leadership. I'm happy to introduce to all of you Joe Santiago. He is a friend for a long time, a colleague that I've seen both from afar and close up. Somebody who I admire, who actually has done something that I always wanted to do, is by having a stint in the military. And I'm sure he will tell us a little bit about how that has helped him in his career path and the development of becoming a highly effective leader. So again, it's all about conversations. We're going to break it apart in two. First, Joe is going to share his journey, from which hopefully all of us can learn. And the second part is about sharing his mentoring philosophy, how he can help you potentially become a highly effective leader as well. So without further ado, Joe, tell us a little bit about yourself, and welcome again to our show.
Well, thank you, Walter. I appreciate it, for your kind words as well. So I'm actually really happy to be here and be a part of the team. Leadership is really a cornerstone in my development, and I'd love to share kind of that journey with you and your audience. And so my leadership started, or my career started as an engineering student, which you wouldn't think that's where it would begin, but I started as an engineering student, realized I'm a process thinker. I really like designing solutions and being analytical in nature. But once I got a little further down the road in engineering, I realized that it was missing the people component that really resonated with me. And from there, I started my career in EMS. I took an EMT program. So in the early to mid 90s, I started doing that. Progressed on to become a registered nurse, and spent most of my time for the first 10 years of my professional career at the bedside, building those soft skills, building that empathy and that ability to connect with people on a human level, which is a fundamental necessity for people who work at the bedside. But like any healthcare practitioner, over time, building experience and building my formal education, I moved into management, moved into leadership roles, and really that time at the bedside really contributed to the development of empathy and leading with empathy and being authentic, because I feel like as a clinician. Clinicians are wired in a particular way to connect with other folks at a very personal level and a very empathetic level. And I carried that empathy and that authenticity into my leadership style. All the while I was doing this, I was also serving in the Army Reserve and had many years of and many deployments, serving in that capacity and learning leadership from a military perspective. But I have always been able to combine the two, that rigid military type thinking, command and control thinking, which actually the military has evolved away from, coupled with that empathetic, authentic leadership style that worked for me as a clinician. And they kind of come together and gel into my overall leadership philosophy, which is really being aware, being very self-aware, understanding my values, understanding my character traits, and applying that empathetic and authentic interactions with my team, all the while leveraging the ability to move in and out of high intensity and low intensity environments. So Walter, you and I share the experience of working on a helicopter, which is a very high intensity environment. Many years in the emergency department, many years in the military environment. But so the ability to move in and out of high intensity environments and build relationship to be effective in those high intensity environments actually happens in that low intensity environment. So really leveraging the ability to be empathetic and be authentic and build relationship and have a connection with your team, so that when you're faced those high intensity environments, not only in healthcare, but just in business as well, there's trust. and you leverage that trust and you leverage those relationships to create results. So, that's really been my journey. I love to say that I have had influences from so many different people, from so many different walks of life, that I really feel that I'm well-rounded as a leader, and I think as a mentor, I can certainly help people get in touch with some of their inner focus and some of their character traits and values and virtues.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you for sharing that story. And it's exactly what it is that we're looking for, is the value that we're trying to add to those people who seek to come out to get mentorship, is that we didn't read a book. We didn't just get a PhD, which you do have, but it is about, we learned it the hard way along the way. And by learning from many, allowing us to be shaped into the people we are today, to become highly effective leader with really soft skills, the attributes that we desire from a leader today, rather than that command and control, that micromanaging, or that ego-driven environment that too many of you are suffering from. We can help the people to circumvent that and show them that there's a better way to lead. So with that said, so the goal is for our mentors is to support our coachees and mentees to over a 6-month period of time, and meet with them, meet with the folks like yourself on a weekly basis for 30 minutes. So what is your philosophy, and how would you add value to that person on a week-to-week basis? And how would you approach that type of relationship?
So learning, from my perspective, learning occurs in the white space between learning events, right? So as the professional is out there working and experiencing these learning events, operational events, or even institutionally, right? They're in a program, they're in an academic program at school, they're in a program at their institution, at their business, or they are out there experiencing in the operational domain learning events. The goal, my philosophy, is to take those learning events and really reflect on them, right? Take that opportunity, that white space between those events, to be self-reflective, take a look at the event, assess our decision-making, really reflect on alternate decisions that we could have made, or completely supporting the decision that you did make. And then learning from that experience and taking that experience into the next learning event, back into the operational world, back into the academic world, and applying that learning to the next learning event. And that's a cycle, right? So we move in and out of those learning events, in and out of the operational world, in and out of the academic world, and we learn in between, in that ebb and flow. So as a mentee, to come and have conversation with me, what we want to talk about is your assessment of that learning event, your assessment of that incident, that event, that opportunity to learn. And let's look at it from a holistic perspective. Let's look at it from your perspective. Let's take a look at your implicit biases that may exist, that may have contributed to your decision making. Let's talk about how you reflect on that after the event, because perspective shifts, and you knew what you knew at the time, but you may know more, you may have more information now than you did. And how would that have impacted your decision at the time? And we kind of look at that holistically, and we say, okay, well, what's the lesson to be learned here? And then how do I apply that moving forward? So in and out of those opportunities, and really capitalizing on that white space where real development occurs.
Yeah, excellent. And really good example, right? There's a difference between academic learning from a book or a lecture, which we all know that by the end of the time you've read the book or you attended the lecture, by Monday morning, you don't remember much of anything. It is what we want to do, is working week to week basis at action-based learning, with real experiences, and have that trust partner like yourself to be able to have that open conversation and that reflective session. What did we do well? How can we build upon that? If it didn't go well, how can we improve upon that? Or how can I make a better decision? I also call these moments like, yes, it's 30 minutes once a week, but there's always, Joe, do you have a minute kind of text, right? We want to have that availability during the week so people have, if you have a quick question that we want interaction with them. Again, the mentee's growth is our performance assessment of self and how we want to add value to at the end of the day itself. Of course, all of the mentees will have an opportunity in the background to do week-to-week lessons around the Pure Leadership Power module, which is in support to what it is that we want to do on a one-to-one basis. It's about developing their why statement, their personal brand, and looking at their individual development plan, taking a deep dive with you together on what is my current behavior, who am I today, what is my reality versus what is my perceived reality, and try to align those things. The core responsibilities of a leader, how to inspire and motivate, how to solve complex problems at root causes, and then of course, how can that leader now integrate that into a team environment so you have this cadence of accountability with making sure that we're measuring the right things. And again, the combination of your expertise, you having had boots on the ground, and the structure of the program itself, we've clearly seen a trajectory of accelerating people's performance. Dr. Madeline said the other day, and I hold myself through to that, is that there's not an athlete in the world that becomes a top athlete without having a great coach or mentor. And that is really where we hope to fill the gap on the administrative side in healthcare or outside of healthcare, because leadership holds true in any industry at this point in time. So I thank you for joining me in the conversation this morning. You're spot on. Any parting message that you have for anybody who would like to, reach out to you and be mentored by you?
I would say, give yourself permission to ask for help. Midway in your career, or even an experienced professional, it's okay to ask for help and ask for guidance, and have a coach and have somebody that you can bounce ideas off of. It's how we develop. It's how we develop professionally.
Yeah, it is a true a point of strength for those who are willing to reach out, not of weakness. Joe, thank you very much for joining me today. I'm sure we'll have a conversation going into the future. I wish you much success. I'm exceedingly happy to have you on the team. And if there's anything that we can do going forward together, hey, let's plan something out and bring value to our audience. Thank you again, and we'll chat real soon. Thank you.
Thank you.